Okay, Larry, it's time for the theme song.
Yeah, Bob. What do I do?
Let's see. I know. You play the guitar.
Bob, I don't have any hands.
Oh, you're right. Well, okay. Well, you play this.
I don't want to play that. I'll look silly.
Oh, come on. It'll be fun.
Nope, not gonna do it.
It's for the kids.
Oh, okay. But they better not laugh.
All right. Better get on out there.
That was weird.
I was told there would be punch and pie, and I could have some just before I die.
That's funny.
I'll see you when we get up to the sky. I hope you understand.
I wish I knew this song and I could sing with you.
I think it was, I made up the lyrics just now.
Oh, shit. In that case,
It's,
I do know this song.
It's a country song. Lock the door and turn the lights down low.
Yeah.
Put
Wow.
some music on the soft and slow.
Would you sing country if you sang?
No.
No?
I'm pretty versatile. You know. I would probably sing, baby, she's got to tell you something. She don't got no belly button. Belly button, no. Oh, no. Belly button. Belly
Good
button.
morning. You're in a fun Saturday mood, Squabble.
Well, technically, I've got it in my and it's not up on the screen, but fruits and vegetables have their umbilical equivocal on the top of their heads, so
Oh, yeah.
they don't got no belly button. That's one of the Veggie Tales songs, belly button.
Oh, that's cute.
It's the cutest Veggie Tale song that has nothing to do with God or the Bible or anything.
Are you sure?
I'm not completely sure, but
Okay. Because I did a little studying, and I kind of think that VeggieTales is good for the kids and the people.
I loved Veggie Tales when it first came out.
In
And
the early 90s,
you've got
mid
it
90s?
you've got it in your notes, and I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything, but he ran he gave a verbal assent to something and got sued about it for breach of contract, and he lost the suit. He lost all his money. They lost all their money for Big Idea.
He lost his
which is
company, yeah.
company. And then on appeal, they won. They won their appeal, but he had already lost all his money, and so
They had already dissolved his company. There was nothing to get back.
so from then on, there were all these dramatic things. It had to be from God, but I don't know what was going on. But he sold stuff and had agreements that this and this would be done, and then it wasn't done, and so they tried to take God and the Bible out of Veggie Tales, the people who took control of things, yeah, and so that they could put it on TV, because you can't do God stuff on TV or whatever. I don't know what it was, something like that.
I think they
And
took
so-
out the last part where it says God thinks you're special or God loves you. They took out that. I looked it up.
They took QWERTY off of it. QWERTY was the guy who always had the Bible verse. That was
Okay.
the computer. It was named QWERTY from QWERTY on the keyboard.
Okay.
And he always had a Bible verse for the day, that would start things off. And they took QWERTY off of it and a bunch of other stuff. And, it's a cute kids thing anyway. So they went that route. And then they, after a while, they got back control of things and went a whole new way and did stuff, and got back on track. But a lot of it in the middle there, it's sort of like Sesame Street. It became a lot more like Sesame Street, with cute songs and and numbers and I don't know, moral. It did have moral, stories, but they weren't so much. They tried to get away from the Bible side of things. Bob and Larry.
So I went to, and so I watched this thing on Veggie Tales, and basically I heard all of that. That the guy had his struggles, that he had some blessings. He ended up making Veggie Tales. It was like the first
Phil.
computer animated thing.
His name was Phil. Yeah, Phil Vischer.
Phil and another dude, Phil
Yeah.
and Dave, Phil and Mike, Phil and
Glacky or something like that.
well, eventually they made a lot of money, had too many employees. Their employees didn't have to be religious, and so the company started going a different direction. Like the board started actively being like, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well,
Anyways,
a
he
lot of
sells for
the
money, and he even says that he kind of
a lot of the
based on the life
voices, a lot of the voices and characters were their own family members. So his
right
wife and daughter and stuff.
originally.
Yeah.
And then that went away. And then when they brought it back as Veggie Tales, just outside of corporations, they did it again. They
I
were
think
their own
I think where
stories,
they
their own voices.
I think where they really went wrong was Pa Grape. All the other characters were vegetables except for Pa Grape. And he
I'm
was
pretty
like,
sure that the tomato and cucumber are fruit.
you think a tomato was a fruit? I thought it was a vegetable.
No, it's a fruit.
It's a fruit?
It has seeds in
I
it.
don't know. Bob and Larry, I think, were vegetables.
They're very
Veggie
fruity.
Veggie Tales. They're
I know. I
vegetables.
don't know why they called it that. They're stories the vegetables told, but they didn't have to be
No,
vegetables. Well, a
no,
dang tomato is a fruit,
no, it's a
like by
vegetable.
category.
It's a
A
vegetable.
vegetable? No, it's a fruit.
It's a vegetable.
I'm Googling it.
I don't eat it in my fruit salad. I don't have a tomato in my fruit salad. I have fruit
We
in my.
deal with it as if it's a vegetable, but technically it's a
It's a
fruit.
vegetable.
It's not.
If you put it on a hamburger, it's a vegetable. You don't put fruit on a hamburger. That's gross.
I mean, some
Who
people will put a
puts fruit?
pineapple
That's on a pizza. You can
on
put
a
pineapple.
burger. They'll put that on a burger too.
A pineapple on a burger? That is gross,
Yeah.
man. Who would do such a thing? Who would do such a thing?
Pumpkins and squash have seeds? Question mark.
What does that mean? Seeds. What does that mean?
Well, generally, the difference between a fruit and a vegetable would be a fruit has the seeds inside. I don't know if it's the same for gourds
We
or
have
for whatever category these dudes are in.
seeds, right? People have seeds.
Yeah, we're fruity.
I have seeds.
Do I have seeds? I don't think I do. I think I just have eggs. It's the
Eggs.
same.
Okay. Well,
I don't have seeds.
it's too complicated for me to. I think a tomato is a vegetable. So there you go.
Vicky said she'd do it. My beautiful sister is here. She said, just because it's gross doesn't mean people don't do it.
Don't do it. What are we talking about? What is going on with this programming?
We're talking about pineapple on your food. Might be wrong, but people do it.
Oh, the pineapple. Well, see, that's another thing. An apple. Is a pineapple a fruit or a pine or what's going on there?
A pineapple.
Pineapple.
I bet it's a fruit.
I think it's a fruit. Pineapple is a fruit.
Should I Google it?
It's a tropical fruit.
I'll look into it.
There's not any pineapples in VeggieTales. I don't know how we got off on this. VeggieTales, you've got cucumber and tomato, and then you've got gourds and carrots, and you got Pa Grape.
Okay, check this out. A pineapple is a fruit. It's classified as a berry since it has many small seeds inside its flesh.
A berry? That's right out. That is not.
Big ass berry.
Berries usually have the thing in the name: strawberry, raspberry, blueberry. It tells you right away what it is.
See, you're obsessed with labeling things. This
Pineapple,
doesn't want to be labeled. It's a damn pineapple.
pineapple berry. No, that's not. No, I don't know where you went to school. California's got a weird. That's weird.
I'm homeschooled. Don't make fun of my mama.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I wasn't.
well, that comes up prominently today, huh? Homeschooling.
Does it?
Children's church. Are you supposed to teach the
Okay.
kids at home, or are you supposed to rely on the church to teach them all the spiritual stuff? You're supposed to do it at home,
Good
right?
question. Correct. I
Um,
think both doesn't hurt, but you should absolutely be doing it at home.
Christian education starts at the home. That's where it's the mother and father who are responsible, right, to raise you in the admonition of the Lord.
Yeah.
Uh, fear,
Because
and
your pastor
admonition.
is like the shepherd of your church block. He can't be like at your house doing like pastoring your
Mm,
sheep as well. Like that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
I don't think the seed is the deciding factor. I think if it has a flower, it is a fruit,
about
but I
flowers.
could be wrong. No,
Flower is it? Doesn't everything that has a fruit have a flower? There's
everything
a
that
flower,
like
it becomes a
no,
fruit, right?
yeah, yeah. Everything has to like yeah. What is a vegetable? What are we for sure is a vegetable right now?
I'm not sure I can trust
Celery?
California and Michigan to
I'm gonna Google it.
educate my children.
Okay. What is a fruit? If it comes up with your picture squabble, that's on you.
Well,
The
Medic Mitchell is like the official, isn't that the official? She's supposed to know stuff like that, right? Um,
not about what we eat, just about us.
yeah, about food and what's the right kind of food and what classifies different foods.
I
And
actually do have some questions for Medic Mitchell, but for my Casey Anthony show, I've got some medical questions that are sensitive and maybe you don't want to talk about them, but it's about death
mm,
and the smell of it.
the Ballad of Little Joe. What was that about? Beautifully, the Ballad of Little Joe. What Bible story was that? I forget.
So, in a botanical sense, a fruit is the fleshy or dried ripened ovary of a flowering plant. It encloses the
Yeah,
seed or
that doesn't
seeds.
that doesn't sound
Examples
tasty at all.
include no, but check it out. Listen to this: apricots, bananas, grapes, bean pods, corn grains,
Bean
tomato,
pod is a fruit.
cucumber, acorns, and almonds.
Well,
Acorns and almonds? This is
acorns and almonds.
nonsense.
I've had almonds, but I don't usually eat acorns. I've seen the squirrels eat them, but
Acorns are dope. They have little hats.
I don't usually eat the acorns.
Me
What
either, but
about
I'm
what about
surprised it's a
roasted?
fruit.
What about roasted chestnuts?
I'll Google it, but I don't know.
I don't think I've ever had a roasted chestnut either.
I know. I feel like we should do that this Christmas so that the songs could be real.
Mm.
Chestnuts roasting, like it's all
Yeah,
bull.
we
It's
should
a
have
fruit. A chestnut is a fruit.
as a fruit. We should have a singing episode at some point. I've already
I
got a
know.
couple of songs that I've mentioned that I haven't sung that I probably need to sing sometime, and
We have to do it around 9, 10 p.m. your
have a
time,
have a
my time.
concert. Why is
I
that
don't
one
sing in
concert?
public unless I drink.
You have to drink.
Yeah, I'm not great at singing, so I need a little liquid encouragement.
Oh,
I
well,
know.
I could carry you, man. I could carry you. You could do like harmonies.
I'll sing back up to
Uh,
you for sure,
yeah, you could
100%.
be
And
you could be
beautifully.
you could be a pip.
Yeah, I'll be a pip. I would love that.
You could be a pip. Did you see that when the pips did their own thing? You had
No, I
yeah,
missed it.
yeah, they had just the
Told you.
pips went on tour, and they just sang the backup stuff to to the regular things. So it was just the pips, and so they just all they did was sing the backup stuff. People loved it, man. People loved it.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I
they
guess it's
really
like a soundtrack, like a instrumental.
they really did that, and it was great. They did all the moves. All the black people groups, they had the moves. Not so much the white people. I don't know what it was. White
Ridiculous. Don't you
people
know who Elvis Presley
can't
is?
dance. They
You know
can't
what?
dance.
You're ridiculously opposite racist, and I hate it.
Mm. The black people were always dancing on the, and so they had the moves. All the groups of the men singers had the groups. I guess when you had like who were the white guys that came, the teeny bop white guys that came around? Um,
The Beatles,
no, what's one of them?
In Sync.
In Sync. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Those
the
guys.
OG would have been Backstreet. No, who's the
Backstreet
original?
Boys. Yeah,
No, no, no,
they
no, no. New
they
Kids on the Block.
they tried to get them to dance, and stuff, but it wasn't quite
That
the
wasn't
same.
dancing either.
It wasn't quite the same. The black folk can dance better than white folk.
No, they can't.
They can. It's in their
P Diddy
culture.
can't dance.
Hmm?
He's blackish.
Who?
Puff
P
Daddy.
Diddy?
Mm-hmm.
Puff Daddy?
Simone.
I'm not saying all black people. It's just that's where, they that
Whatever. Elvis can dance.
it's
He
it's the
busted a
same. It's
damn
the same
move.
thing. It's the same thing as rock music. We stole rock music from the black people. The black people were doing rock music long
This is
before.
nonsense. What type of shit is in your
No,
YouTube algorithm?
no, they're the ones that started it, man. And
Man,
then
we
the
gotta get to
black
a
people
church.
and the white people stole it. Elvis, the Stones. You listen, they went back and stole all the black music and redid it and made it hits, made all the money off of it that the black people
We
were.
made it better. You could say it.
No, they made it popular with the white folks. They were singing black music, but it was white. And
There's no such thing.
the
They were
best,
singing black
yeah,
music.
yeah, the best,
Which words are black?
the best
Which
example.
tunes are black? Which chords are black?
The best example is "I Shot the Sheriff." "I Shot the Sheriff," which was a
That sounds like a
Caribbean
black person would
reggae.
say.
It was a reggae tune, and then the white people stole it and made it popular. And so now both songs are popular. "I Shot the Sheriff," but you
I
you
thought
can
Bob
hear it.
Marley did a who did I Shot the
That's
Sheriff?
what I'm saying. You could
Ain't he
do Bob
black?
Marley's. You could do Bob Marley's the one that wrote it.
Well, he's
That's where it
black, I
came
think.
from.
So what's your point?
But
Who
then
made
you
it
had
popular?
the
Why are we talking about this? I feel
The
racist now.
guitar guy. The
Damn it.
guitar guy came along and stole stole George's wife, and
Damn it.
stole Bob Marley's music, and he's noted as the greatest guitar player of all time. I'm not so sure
Who
about
is?
what's his name? Help me
From the
out,
Beatles?
Paul. No, he's not a Beatle. He might have been like a fifth Beatle. There were a lot of Beatles who were like the fifth Beatle, and he was one of those. Um,
I just Googled the writer of every rock song ever, and everyone has a last name that sounds like it comes from Israel. Beautifully is black, but she agrees with you. One
she
of those things has
agrees.
nothing to do with the other.
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh, hey, that's a
and
question.
and Larry the cucumber is green.
So I guess
So
he has to be a vegetable.
yeah, he's green. Um, I don't know what's up with that. Do you know any green people? There were some blue people
Yeah,
one time. Do you remember the story about the blue people?
the
There
wolf,
was a
wolf
brother and a
king.
sister who showed
Yeah,
up in a cave, and they were
thinking it was.
blue. And the boy was so blue, he was too blue.
Wait, were they
He
blue?
he didn't. Yeah, there were blue people. He didn't make it. The boy didn't, but the girl eventually, became part of the community, and they spoke a weird language. They were showed up. It's one of those
There's
tales.
blue people in like Kentucky, but the kids, the Wolfkin kids, or Wolf, I don't know their name. I don't remember the city, but they were green.
They were green.
Hmm.
I thought they were blue.
Yeah, so the rest of the information you've given us today probably half-assed as well.
Well,
Just for the wreck about everything.
Spock is green, right? He's got green blood. And
Yeah, I don't know.
Larry the cucumber is green. Um, but yeah, who were the members of Cream? Do you even know who Cream was?
It's a
Um,
song.
you had Ginger Baker. He was one of them,
I'll
and
Google.
then you had the guy that stole George's wife. You would know him if I
Eric
remembered it.
Clapton,
Eric
s-
Clapton. That's who it was. Eric Clapton. See, Vicky T.
the
See, Paul.
Yardbirds.
Paul didn't even know it was Vicky T that had to come to the rescue
She
because
literally knows everything.
she and I we know stuff like that. I just have I came to the point where I knew it and then I forgot it.
Okay,
But
so Eric Clapton is the best guitar player ever. Is that what you're trying to say?
that's what Jimi Hendrix said. I think Jimi Hendrix.
Okay,
They had like a mutual
I don't believe him.
affection, where Eric Clapton would say Jimi Hendrix was the best, and Jimi Hendrix would say Eric Clapton was the best, and but yeah, a lot of
Mm,
people say he was the best guitar player, but he was on drugs for half his life, and he
oh
stole
hell,
George he stole George Harrison's wife and
you can't steal
Patty.
someone's wife
Hmm? Yeah,
unless he
yeah.
kidnapped her.
In fact, most of the are there a lot of hit songs came out of writing songs for her. Um, they were all about her. Uh, Eric Clapton songs, George Harrison songs. They wrote a lot of songs about her. And
This is an iconic band. These look like just a bunch of train spotters or
well, that's one of the things about Bob and Larry is
it's crazy.
they were very musically gifted. I think they came up with a lot of wonderful songs.
No, when I was watching this VeggieTale documentary, apparently they used like the people that were around them. Like, hey, friend that comes over once in a while, you want to write some music? And the dude that they picked for the music was extremely talented. And he's like he was just like a young person. He was like just one of those diamonds in the rough that they just happened upon. And I don't know. We should watch the documentary, but we should maybe get into some of the
Well,
church stuff.
you homeschool, right? So you
Yes,
homeschool, and you don't go to church, so there's probably not a Sunday school or kids church, right?
correct.
Involved, and it's just up to you.
Yeah,
You and hubby that teach the kid his moral values, and that's really where it's supposed to start, right? It's in the home,
it has to.
and then I think you've got in your notes somewhere when Sunday school started and um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
how it came to be the 19th century or 18th century, the rise of Sunday
Mhm.
school. Uh,
Right. So it said when I just had the AI try to help me with this one, and it said this
mm,
that the first through fourth centuries were kids worshipped alongside adults in house churches, which is what we would expect because it was mostly house churches, and that Sunday school didn't come around until the 18th century, which would have been in England. Around the 19th century, it came over here. By the 1800s, Sunday school became a widespread tool for Christian education, especially in Methodist and evangelical circles, which I thought was interesting to read because that was what was kind of confusing me last weekend. Was they were saying church, kids church, and I was like, well, that's Sunday school. But it turns out the Methodists kind of have a little bit of a blend of this. Like we didn't get the sermon, but we had the fun education, the take homes, the books. We did a lot of Bible stuff. It's weird. Like we'll get into it here, but I think that's because I was raised mostly Methodist until I got a little older.
mm,
Um, 20th century, it says the emergence of children's church. It says as churches grew, many began offering children's church during the adult service. This shift was partly pedagogical, teaching at the child's level, so it was partly for their benefit, and partly practical, allowing the adults to focus on the message that was being had. And then
mm.
today, churches offer both Sunday school and kids' church, often running concurrently with the adult service, which is how we did it. The goal is to balance age appropriate spiritual formation with integrational connection. That's AI all day.
Well, I mentioned last week how um, I grew up with Sunday school and children's church. We had a nursery where the really young, went, and and people just sat with them, and I don't think they did much of anything, but
Yeah.
um, for a while, and then it probably developed into children's church. But I mentioned last week how and it was through the Sunday school, through the children's Sunday school classes, that all of the weird doctrine and strange practices came into the church. Um, and you usually had companies apart from the denomination that did the curriculum. Um, you know, so there were like 4 or 5 different main uh, children's curriculum people who came out with Bible stories, and it didn't always fit with whatever a particular denomination or group of Christians might believe. I think they tried to base it on the Bible and stuff, but you've got difference between Baptist and Methodist and Presbyterians, and somehow or another in the Sunday school curriculum, it just all got squashed together and just became basic, Bible teaching stuff. And that's where you had things like Christmas and Easter and all that kind of stuff come into the church, just through the Sunday school.
Don't you think it's good to sort of give kids tools to like operate in the world? Because when they leave your church building, they are going to encounter Christmas and Halloween and the holidays. That's sort of what I was getting out of Veggie Tales, where it's like,
I think that was always well meant, well
seems to be
intended.
helpful. Where do you find the bad thing in that? In the
Well,
introduction of pagan things?
well, it's just in terms of I, I'll call it doctrine, but it basically it's what a particular group of Christians believes about the scriptures. And there's going to be a difference between what a particular group of Christians believes about the scriptures and what the
But
people
that's
who are doing something else that you're introducing into that group believes
right.
about the
And
scriptures.
that's every
And so,
denomination, right? You're going to find that in
right,
Baptist versus. Okay, so then
right.
it's even furthermore when you get to Sunday school. Is that what you're saying? It's a more division, or
Well, anytime you introduce something from outside, you're losing the purity of whatever it is
exactly?
that your group is teaching. And
Yeah,
so, whether it's Veggie Tales or really
or
anything,
Calvin.
if somebody else is doing the curriculum for teaching the kids, that's really based that's kid centric, things that kids connect with, or um, there's a loss of doctrinal control of beliefs about things. Um, so you might believe one way about baptism, and then your curriculum that the kids are learning
Hmm.
is something else, or the Eucharist or in communion
Right.
or whatever. You know, and so the kids grow up
That
saying,
would
"Well,
be
why
very
why don't we
strange
do it?
for your
Why don't we
Sunday
do it this
school
way?
to be
This is what I
teaching
was."
against the denomination that of the building they're in. That would be strange. But I can understand that. But to me, I don't like if that happens, you just have to be prepared to give account for your faith. Like be prepared to teach your children why this is going on, why it happens,
Well,
why you believe what you believe. But most parents aren't willing to
I
engage. They're not
I
willing,
think
they don't want that. Like you said, they want the
I think
indoctrination. They're
I
like,
think
don't,
the
it's
breakdown
unquestionable faith, which I think is a mistake.
I think the breakdown began in the home. Um, it's when parents have so much to do, and so they take the kids to church. They think they're doing the right thing. Take them to church. You're supposed to go to church. Take them to church, and then you entrust the education of the kids to the Sunday school, or it's the same with regular school. And instead of homeschooling, people take them uh, to public school, and they entrust the public school to teach the kids, stuff. Well, what's going to be I don't want to say better, but yeah, it is better. What is closer to what the parents want to teach the child? The parents teaching the child, or public education teaching the child, or the church Sunday school teaching the child? The parents really have the greatest responsibility for the spiritual education of the children, or any education of the children. But they have such a monumental task, especially in these days where the mom has to work and the dad has to work and everybody's working, that you just you give that over to a day school, a preschool, a
Yeah, but
nursery
that's
school.
people rearranging
Um,
their priorities for that. They're like, "Well, I need a second car and a better house and a higher roof and,
yeah,
central air." So, at the sacrifice of coming alongside the education system or
sacrifice.
the religious system, any of that, they are like, good luck, kid. I'm not gonna deal with any of this. Your teacher is who's going to teach you things, and I'm gonna go to work full time so that I could have a dope car and whatever as the
And
Joneses
then
have today or the Kardashians. And
one of
that's
the
bullshit.
first
I own my home. I have nice cars. I've got 7 children. I don't work. It's not like you can't have the American dream because you have to struggle. That's bull crap. That's fed to people. I don't believe in that.
mm, well, one of the first things that I had to deal with, I was raised in public school and raised in Sunday school. Um, in fact, there was very little education from my parents about stuff like that, whether it be um, you know spiritual matters or just regular educational matters. There was very little of that in the home. I think when I was a baby, we had like the words, that you put, around the house. This is a table, this is a chair, this is a door. Where you would kind of learn stuff. But once I got into school, into nursery school or whatever, my parents gave that over to those systems. And one of the main things that we were kind of faced with when I was growing up was when evolution came into public school. And a lot of times the teachers would apologize and say, um, I know you guys don't believe this, but I have to teach this, because it's in the curriculum. The state, mandates that I teach this. And so I'm going to teach you about evolution today, but you guys don't have to believe it. And that was in the public school, that the teachers were apologizing for departing from their personal uh, ethics, and what was being taught in school, what qualified as official education. And the state started to control, what was being taught. It kind of like feels a little bit like what we think of Russia, where they're taken from the parents and taught this and this and that. And
Yeah, I mean,
and
again,
Sunday school is kind of the same way. It departs from now parents might trust the church because they're members of the church, so they would or members of that denomination, and they said, "Yeah, this is what we believe, and we trust the church is going to teach this." But then when it came to the Sunday school, things kind of went off the rail. I think you had a lot of false teachings enter in, and that's what was taught to the kids.
yeah,
And some people might think that that's what's taught with Veggie Tales. Is that it's very fun, it's very entertaining, but how theologically sound is it? You try to make it theologically sound. It's just
that's
like what we do with Christian music. Uh,
right. Well, I
some
don't, but yes.
some Christian music is theologically sound, and some is bunk. Um, some of the hymns in hymn books. Yeah, for a while, you had the Methodists had their own hymn book, the Baptists had their own hymn book, Presbyterians had their own hymn book, and some still do today. But there were a lot of like in the Presbyterian church. Initially, we didn't do Christmas, so we didn't have Christmas hymns in the hymn book. Way in a Manger, you didn't have stuff like that in the hymn book. But when Christmas started to become popular, you had the congregation start demanding, "What about the Christian? What about the Christmas songs? Let's put the Christmas songs in the book." And so you had a compromise.
Compromise. Which is fine. Compromise. It's church. It's what you guys are doing as a community together. But like, go home and believe the way you believe, right? Because you're not
Well,
going to change the whole world. You
it's
just have
sort
to
of
be a
the
light in the world. You're the thing that needs to not change. To
it's
be
sort
like,
of
well, I went to
the
the building and the building was doing it this way, so now I do it this way. It's just why we're here where we're at. We people just have no accountability for themselves or for their offspring, which I think is crap. You said your parents did it. A lot of people your age, your generation did that same thing. They relied on the state to raise their children, and we're dealing with that now.
Well, it's kind of a bigger thing too. We've talked before about how in Roman Catholicism, there was a time Roman Catholicism, that was the church. You know, 85% of the church was Roman Catholic. Um, and it was run by priests. So the priests disseminated the doctrine that they wanted to be taught. This is our official church doctrine. And so that was what was given to the people. Well, as you had Protestantism come along and you had the individual priesthood of believers, that you can have your own relationship with God, and I don't have to rely on a priest to tell me. I could study myself the Word of God and come up with my own thoughts and ideas, or what I feel that the Holy Spirit might be leading me in a certain way. And so you had all these different groups of Christians come around. And then you had all these groups of quasi-Christians come around, like the Mormons or the Jehovah's Witnesses, who had really some wacky things that they might have, that the regular church might have considered to be wacky. And you just had a lot of differences, develop as it went from being a corporate structure, where an official head pope, might say, this is how it is. This is how we understand God. Till you had each individual come up with their own thoughts and ideas about how to, what to believe about God. And so today it really becomes down to, we're very individualistic, especially in America, where no church is going to tell me what to do. I'm going to decide for myself what to do. Um, So you run the whole gamut of a spectrum from the individual to a
But no
corporate
church should tell
structure.
you what to do.
Well, but there's a purity. What's the best way to say this? When you have, like in the Presbyterian Church, we require our pastors to go to seminary, to be taught to know Hebrew and Greek, to learn
Okay.
the scripture, to learn before they go out and are over a church.
Okay.
And there's a quality of of um, of religious devotion to God that comes from an educated um, leadership of the church, rather than just anybody coming up with their own idea.
Right, but that's what the
Um,
Holy Spirit is for inside of us. It's not like go to that guy and have them tell you. It's never been that way. And God didn't pick disciples that were like super learned and like brilliant minds. He picked degular people because that's what it takes to spread the word. Just people willing to witness.
it's like iron sharpens iron. We need each other.
Right. But it has
So
nothing
you
to
have
do with how educated the iron is.
it's like you can't just you can't rely on just your own way of doing things. You have to get the advice and the instruction and the guidance of others who are fellow Christians.
I agree. Yamaha Biker is here. Long time, very long time no see.
Welcome, Yamaha.
We're doing our Saturday Bible
I
study. We're
like
trying to
the
figure
I like the Indian bikes.
out.
Um, those are the best bikes, right?
I don't
Nothing
know about
nothing
right.
against nothing against Yamaha, but I like the Indian bikes.
I'm more of a Kawasaki person.
I've never really been a biker though, so I don't know.
Salvation is not acquired through the church, though I will concede the church keeps Christ alive in society. We could debate that. I feel like the church does more
Mm,
to kill Christ than anything.
different people believe different things about the church, and maybe that's what comes into children's education too. But there's no question but that we need each other. We need a fellowship of believers, and that's ideally what the church is meant to represent. Is so that you don't go, squirrely in your beliefs, and um, God has many arms and hands and heads and becomes a dragon. I don't know. What's the Cthulhu? Is that what's the other?
Um,
It's like an octopus god or whatever. Cthulhu, something like that.
Cthulhu. Yeah, I see it. This this is a kraken, right?
The Kraken.
I don't know.
Uh,
That thing?
there he is.
That's
Cthulhu.
creepy.
The octopus-headed god. Yeah. That has nothing to do with Veggie Tales or Children's Church or any day, man.
No, sorry. You started it.
I started it, man. I brought it up, man. I'm just
Okay.
saying there's a lot of weird stuff out there that can enter into the church if you're not careful and don't have a fellowship of believers to watch over and correct each other and say, hey, that is not right, man. That is not right.
I agree. But what's that to do? Okay, so when you're in Sunday school, we're going to separate that from like the little kids, the 0s to 2, that really aren't like
Infants.
right, the little kids. But then from there on, when they can sort of do crafts and or organize things and start really playing
Color.
with
It's a lot of
words
coloring.
and
It's a
games.
lot of
A
coloring that
lot of
goes
coloring
on,
for the first few years of Sunday school. Okay, so Sunday school,
We had memory work.
we did too.
Yeah.
We did all of that, but they also gave us, well, you know what? I think I'm confusing. I was also in Kiwanis. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
So I was also in that, and that was for sure. We had take home like pamphlets and stuff. I think I might be confusing Kiwanis with
And
Bible study.
we had a lot of stars. So you could get a lot of stars for stuff.
I
I
mean, with Sunday school.
always wanted to collect the most stars,
Yeah.
and the badges. Did you guys have like the yearly attendance badges for Sunday
Not in
school?
church, no.
Ah, man, I had like 18 years of those where you had like perfect attendance every Sunday for
Oh,
18
man.
years. I had like 18 of those, man. Ah,
Wow.
a big old, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Wow. They really yoked
But
you with a heavy burden to
oh
carry
man,
those.
I really got into stars and badges and memory work and all that kind of. Now, memory work is maybe a little bit different because it's good to memorize the Bible. It's good to memorize Scripture, to carry it in your heart. You can carry it around with you. I don't have to have the King James Bible. I've got the King James Bible inside me, and so that part of it is kind of good. But just collecting stars, it makes you feel good. Say, well, you've only got 4 stars. I've got 20 stars.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm the
There's that
best.
inner Jew inside of all of us that wants to
Ah,
like
yeah,
everyone could see my goodness.
yeah. Look at this, man. And that's a bunch of bunk or whatever.
So I compared Methodist, Seventh Day, and Baptist. This
That's
is
what
how
that's your crew, right?
that's
You're
my
the
crew.
Methodist, and beautifully is
Beautifully
the Seventh Day, and Vicky's the Baptist, right?
correct. And now here's the thing.
Ah,
Here's the
okay.
twist. My favorite sister played Seventh Day Adventist for a minute. Like totally not wearing jewelry and having Bible study at her house and stuff.
Mm,
And then my
No,
dad is
no
still
lipstick.
playing Baptist. He's been doing that for like since the late 90s. And so
Well,
I have
the
never been to
Baptist.
any Seventh Day things, but I've been to Baptist church since I'm like 14. So I do know a little bit about the Baptist sites. I was just raised Methodist. This is my core understanding of how church works is how the Methodists do it.
Well, all those have their strong points and their weak points, and just like my, Presbyterianism does, it can be strong, it can be weak. It just kind of depends. The Presbyterians used to kill the Baptists. We would say,
Wow.
"Oh, you want to be dunked? Here, let's dunk you," and they would drown the Baptist in the river. Um, in Scotland. That's how we treated the Baptists.
Dang, you guys are evil.
Oh man, and we've talked before about how the Methodist gets its name from how they lived their daily life. They were all about trying to be pure and purity,
Mm,
and putting the Bible into practice in their
yeah.
daily living.
I think that's why I was turned off as a kid, because my biggest thing was the hypocrisy that I saw. So in
Oh
church,
yeah.
they're telling you like to be live this way, and you go home and you're like, you're not even trying. But they're
Anytime
saying the things, and so I was like, okay,
you
this isn't
said
real.
you've got their grace centered, but I think a lot of times it gets down into law centered, doesn't it? Where you've got to do this, you've got to do that to be holy, and that's the slippery slope of pietism, of leading a holy life. Is you become dependent on, I've got to pray at 5 a.m. and 12 a.m. and
Well, it wasn't
p.m.
like that for us. I don't know if it gets
Oh,
pretty hardcore in the Methodist circles. It definitely wasn't like that for us.
oh,
But I don't know how bad it gets, like how extreme it gets, I suppose. That
mm.
would be that's kind of like more, that sounds to me like the way that the Islam does it, right? Face east, make
Well,
at this time.
it
But
it's it, it can be good in that you want to lead a holy
right.
life,
I was going to
and
say it's kind of like
you want to
memorizing
have
scripture. It's
you
not
want to have
bad.
you want to have controls, where you're doing this and this and this practice to try and be holy. But you can't depend on
Set
that
apart.
for your salvation. You can't say, "Oh, I'm a great person because look, I pray 5 times a day," and like the Pharisee did that came before,
Because I got all my
said,
stars or
"Oh, I'm
whatever.
so much better than this publican because look at all this, look at my life, and look at this publican's life. Oh,
Because
I'm
I
so
washed
much
my
better.
hand.
I'm so much
Yeah.
better." And then the Baptists were a lot of witches, right? Well, it's witchcraft, and
Okay, you hear that?
I must have read Vicky wrong. Baptists are not witches, is what she's saying. I must have misread that. I'm sorry. Sorry, Vicky.
They won't give me stars anymore, so now my shoes are That's funny. I was also Bethel Pentecostal Apostolic. My pastor came up with his own combination.
Oh
Bethel,
wow. Mm.
does that mean
House
house?
House of God, yeah, House of
House,
God.
yeah. So Pentecostal Apostolic,
Hmm.
like they went out with the word.
Well, that's designed to have you feel like you're following the apostles' teachings,
Hmm.
the original 12 apostles of Christ. So it gives you a little bit of authority that, we're apostolic. We don't believe in all the newfangled stuff and, doctrines. And we go back to the
Yeah, me either.
apostles' teaching.
Yeah, I'm with them.
And
I'm with them.
yeah.
I don't like any of this newfangled stuff either. But some of the newfangled stuff is getting back to the old fangled stuff, and I'm sort of with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But also, like, orthodoxy is newfangled to me. I don't care how old it is. So
Well, it does come down to the individual because you're not going to have the church behind you when you come to the pearly gates
right.
and have to make an explanation of things to God. You're going to be judged on your own merits or whatever, um, through the blood of Christ. If you're really going to make it in. Say, no, I'm terrible. It has to be Jesus. Please cover me with the blood of Christ, or I'm not going to make it in. But there's no doubt that a fellowship of believers can really boost what you do individually.
So beautifully said, Pentecostal, day of Pentecost. So this is the house of spirit-filled apostles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amen to all that.
It probably would be better if you had fire baptized in there somewhere.
Yeah, a little
Fire
charisma,
baptized Bethel
so we know.
Pentecostal Apostolic. Yeah.
Just say it. We
That was
speak
one
in
of
tongues and fall on the floor. Write that. People will
my
show up.
my black girlfriend. That's what she was a member of. Fire baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost, church of something. Um, so. It really comes down to whether you believe in the Bible, what the Bible teaches, or at least try to. And like we've said, there are disagreements. You and I have disagreements. We can look at the same Bible passage and have, different ideas about it. But at least you're in the Word. You're not off in
Right.
some strange Tom Cruise, thing.
Scientology.
Yeah. He had a run-in with Brooke Shields. I think Brooke Shields claims to be a Christian now.
Should I Google it?
Well, I think she does. There's a lot of Hollywood people who have become Christians after living a profligate life or whatever, and they finally come around. And we spoke one time about Augustine, who was like the founder. He was really a reformed kind of guy, and his mom prayed for him, and let me be, but not yet. Let me be a Christian, but not yet. She wanted him to get all his wild oats, out of his system before he came to Christ. I don't know. The guy that you were going to bring up this week, what's heliocentric?
Mm-hmm.
He was raised, wow, cross your T's, dot your I's. Um, what was his big thing, his claim to fame? He gave up masturbation between the ages of 14 and 20 something. And so he, um,
That's what the heliocentric guy said.
yeah, yeah. He was a
He'd be
straight
better off
laced,
if he hadn't given that up. That's medical advice.
he was a straight laced Christian guy for a long time. But and that's I think part of the problem too, is that I don't laws are there for a reason, but I think they're there to draw us to Christ, not for you to say, "Up, I have kept every commandment." It's like the guy that came to Christ and said, "I have kept all these things from my youth," and Jesus was, "Well, that's great. That is great. Get sell everything and come and follow me." And he, what? What? So when he was challenged really on what's really important, he failed. He failed the test. Um, but yeah, that takes a lot of stamina, right? That right, sibling? That's a lot of you know. I say that, but and my own experience is that it's just like with smoking. We have a friend who's, I think, a couple of friends now. I won't mention either one of them, but one of them's mom has, is in a bad way, and so they've had to stop smoking. And it's not hard. You just stop. You just give it up, just like that. And it's not hard. It's not hard. Uh, but for some people, it's hard because it works on your mind, and you're always thinking about, I gotta do this. But no, if you just decide to do something, you can do it, man. The power of God, you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it if you decide it. But you have to want to
Can you do it, or could you give it to
be.
God and He'll do it?
It's a little bit of both, I think. Um, I think we're made so that we can
Very new
obey.
thought of you.
We can really obey God if we really want to.
Through what power?
But it's our want that a lot of times is messed up. Is we really don't want so much. We like this too
Right.
much. We like that too much.
That's why
We like
we
the
aren't necessarily in the
we
equation.
we like the air conditioning in our homes, and we like the cars that go here and there, and we don't want to give that stuff up. You could give it up just like that if you had to, or if you really wanted to. But no, we don't want to so much, so we keep it around.
Mm-hmm. I think people want to say, I can do this, and you really can't do it. You have to give it to God, and God can. The power in you to stop doing those things that your mind and your chemical dependence want is conquerable through the power of Christ, full stop. I don't think we can do anything. If we were in the equation, we'd fail every time. Get out of your way. Get out of God's way. Stop leaning into anything you know or understand or have been through or read, and let God do the thing that you can't even understand. That's how I think about it. I don't think we have any power in it.
Well, um, I could agree with that. Paul is sticking it to me, or sibling revelry is sticking it to me. Free will. It's your free will, squab. But yeah, our will can be pretty strong, and if we decide to do something, um, we can do it. And for a heliocentric who claims to be an atheist, I don't know, because Div and I are going to disagree on this. I would say he was never a Christian, but Div would say, well, he's an ex-Christian, and I don't believe in ex-Christians. So I think whatever power he had to do however he was, I think that was all of him, because he claims now not to be of Christ. He claims to be an atheist. So that's a matter of like Paul says, that's a matter of human will. You just will to do something, and pow. So there's no question that we have some strength that we let slide a lot of times because it's not culturally apropos. It's not.
Yeah,
We
that's
get
what I was
to.
saying earlier about people thinking the church has to raise their children or a teacher has to raise your children. It's like, no, only if you want,
Mhm.
only if you must keep up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, and you've experienced a little bit of that being a homeschooler, where it's not hard. You decide to do it, and you don't have to go with the flow. You don't have to be a part of what everybody else is doing.
Well,
You
when you sit
can,
back and look at it, you realize like the flow is kind of retarded.
yeah. Or generally, they lean toward that way, or gravitate toward being backward.
Yeah.
It's the law of entropy. Everything falls apart, tends to fall apart, unless you make a concentrated effort not to have it be so.
Good morning, Mahalik. Okay, so here's some questions. Is teaching children religious beliefs considered indoctrination?
It depends on whether you think that's a good word or a bad word. Indoctrination. I
Well,
would
I mean,
say
what is indoctrination? Wanting a result out of somebody?
I would say yes. You're trying to put your beliefs and your morals into a child. I don't think that's a bad thing if your morals and principles and beliefs are correct, or a good thing. If you're a Satanist and you're teaching baby sacrifice, you don't want to indoctrinate them with that, right?
Yeah, but those people think their beliefs are correct.
Yeah, they do.
So that's rough. You start being like, well, shoot, what do you do with that?
But I think teaching children can be considered indoctrination, because you're trying to guide the child in the way that they should go.
Hmm.
When they're old, they won't depart from it.
Yeah, totally. I think like when I have the radio on in the car, this is just a super basic example, but it's like steeping your kids in something that you want them to repeat. When I have the radio on the car and it's on, R&B, that's what's in my head for the day. When I have it on and it's on my Christian station, that's what's in my head for the day. Just whatever you marinate yourself in is sort of
Marinate.
what
Hmm.
you're going to, that's what your fruit will taste like,
Yeah.
you know? And so I don't think it's a bad thing whatsoever. Same reason I don't think Veggie Tales is a bad thing, because
Have you
there
got
is good
a
in the world. You will encounter a lot of good outside of God. Question it, understand it, like figure it out. Know if it really
have,
is good, I think.
have you got a Pepe or a Hope on your end? Because I'm gonna take a bio
Oh,
break.
wow.
I'm
For
gonna
the
I'm
first
gonna
time
go take
ever,
my first ever bio break.
I can do
I think
something. I'm sure I can do something.
I don't know what happened, but yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna take a bio break, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's see what's happening in chat. For my beautiful friend Vicky and um beautifully, I said that too many times. We have a medic who is willing today, tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, so we have a medic who's willing to come on our show and talk to us about death and answer our death questions in regard to Casey Anthony or anything with that. So let's schedule that. That's good news. Whenever you marinate yourself in. Yeah. Yeah. Like right now, Squabble has marinated himself in too much water, and now he got to pee. Dope, right? So I'm super stoked. It looks like she's got most of the week off, so we'll pick a day that's best for her. Let's go spoiler alert and go to the end of this before Squab gets back. There's nothing. Spoiler alert, there's nothing. Do you see what I did here with this picture? I don't know which one is Larry and which one is Bob, but they're getting murdered. I'll tell you guys, this is what the people say is bad about VeggieTales before Squabble gets back. Critics argue that VeggieTales reduces complex biblical stories to moral lessons, omitting truths. I'm like, complex biblical stories, these are for children. I think it's okay to like simplify some things. And I also think it's important to think about VeggieTales in context. The VeggieTales are just vegetables telling stories, or fruits, depending. They're not like church people telling stories. So it'd be like encountering everyday people that are telling you different stories, and often their stories are like David and Goliath or whatever. Here comes Squabble. Let's tell him you learned a lot. Tell him you learned a lot.
Okay, we're back.
Well, I wonder if they learned anything while you were gone.
That was refreshing.
Good, I'm glad.
What did we learn while I was away? Did you guys talk behind my back? What did you say, Paul? He was laughing about something, man. Oh, that was Vicky.
Do you believe C.S. Lewis when he says education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a more clever devil?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like having a dull knife in a kitchen. It is so much more dangerous than a sharp knife. Because you got to press harder on it. You got to do fancy stuff with it to actually make it do its function, because it's not ready. The tool isn't quite ready for its job.
You know a little too much about knives.
I took home ec when they still had home ec in high school. And
oh, is that where it comes from?
mm-hmm.
Home ec?
Yeah, they taught us
something. That. You said something last week about the hung jury having knives.
Did I?
Yeah, you said the hung jury had knives.
That might be true. Vicky does. For sure.
There was a lot of stuff. I actually said last week that I didn't have any notes. What were we talking about? We were doing a retrospective on all the things that we had talked about. And I said, I didn't have any notes. Well, I did have notes. I had notes about what I felt terrible about. So I've got like 2 weeks now of terrible feelings all pent up inside me, just waiting to splurt, just waiting to splurt out, all over the chat and stuff. So.
Good God.
Oh, yeah.
I need an umbrella. I need one of those Gallagher plastic sheets.
Yeah. That was such a good thing when he did the watermelons.
Such a good thing.
With a sledgehammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What a weird thing to go watch.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it brought terror to Larry the cucumber to watch stuff like that. Aren't cucumbers and melons, aren't they kind of related? I don't know.
Home ec was the best class in school.
I never took home ec. I never had a Susie bake oven. I think my sister may have. She was 8 years younger than I was, and so,
I think they're an easy bake oven. If she put baby Susie in there, that's a problem. Report her.
If ever I played with dolls, it was to be a companion to my 8-year-old younger sister.
Oh, what a guy.
She used to make me eat her mud pies, and I did. I ate her mud pie.
Wow, that sounds
She would make from
cool.
mud, and the lengths that an older brother will go to have his younger sister, look up to him with admiration. Uh,
Does she? Does she still? We need to interview
oh
her.
yeah, she still does, man.
Okay. Okay, wait. Is your brother then is older than you? Because you're a
My
middle child?
Yeah, my brother's 2 years older, and my sister's 8 years younger.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah,
So, do you look up to your older brother with admiration?
he was actually, of all the people in the family, he was going to be a pastor.
Okay.
And then a couple of years into seminary, he decided, no, I think I'm going to be a public educator, and he went into public education.
Hmm.
Um, and he was able to get away with a lot as a Christian in a public school. And as a math teacher, he was able to make the school. He and his people he would gather around him, his fellow teachers, were able to make it one of the best, math departments in the whole state.
Hmm.
Um,
So he
and
went to seminary and decided it just wasn't for him. That's interesting.
well, he just decided that he was better suited to teaching kids.
How
And
would you know that when you're taking seminary
I
classes?
don't know, but that's what he became a high school teacher,
Sounds like
high
he was
school,
correct. I
college.
just find it fascinating that that's where it clicked for him. He must have been learning and
Yeah.
like, this isn't fun. I should make learning fun or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, that was easy.
Veggie Tales.
Mm-hmm.
Broccoli, celery, gotta be Veggie Tales.
Okay. So I watched a few episodes of Veggie Tales.
You didn't
I went
grow
to
up.
their,
You didn't grow up with Veggie Tales.
I knew
Oh.
them peripherally. So I knew about that song you just sang, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen them before, and I'm sure I'd seen an episode, maybe not the whole thing. So this
Did you
weekend,
ever see?
Mm.
Did you ever see the one that Beautifully liked? What was it? I forget which one it was. It was her favorite.
A kid cartoon?
Well, there was a particular Veggie Tales that she had watched. It was her favorite. And looking back, trying to see what
We need to talk
Joseph
about.
uh, Joseph and his brothers, but set in the Wild West. It was
Oh, my favorite episode is The Ballad of Little Joe, an
Little Joe. Yeah,
original episode.
yeah.
The
So that's
Ballad of Little Joe.
Joseph and his brothers set in the Wild West.
Joseph and his brothers set in the Wild West. See, that's cute. I don't see any problem with that because it helps you grasp the things. Like, if you
Well,
can.
I can tell you the thing that I like most about it was that it was not. You didn't have Jesus depicted. You didn't have a depiction of Jesus. Um, that Flannel Graph did. And so in Veggie Tales, they reimagine the stories with vegetables. And so I don't know if
Well,
they're going to picture Jesus, he's going to be a vegetable. I don't know which vegetable he would be, but you know what I'm saying? I
but they
like that.
didn't. I
I
don't
like
think they
I
pictured
like that.
Jesus.
No, I don't think they did,
Well,
but
yeah.
but but I like that
Correct, because
because
they're Veggie Tales.
it didn't give you an idea of a picture of who Jesus, what he looks like.
Right.
Although I was going to bring up, let me get to my notes here somewhere. I was going to bring up the picture of Jesus. Do you know who Colton Burpo was?
No.
Um, he was a young boy who had a near-death experience. And they wrote a book. I don't know if he wrote the book or had the book written for him, but Heaven is for Real. That was his book. And there was a girl who was also a child, uh, Ekiane Kramark. Anyway, she did a drawing of the Prince of Peace. And when Colton Burpo saw that, he said, "That's him." She said, "That's the closest match to Jesus that he saw during his heavenly vision." And so you had for a long time that painting, the Prince of Peace, by Akiane uh, Kramarik. Uh, you had her rendering of the Prince of Peace as the most popular picture of Jesus. Mm. I've got a link to it somewhere. If where do I need to put it? Let's see. Copy. I don't know if I can put it in. Oh, you said I can put it in private chat, right?
Private chat, yeah.
In private chat.
The little Colton kid, he said, all the colors of the rainbow are in heaven, except they are all more. He did. That's really cute.
Mm.
He was 4 when that happened.
But these are kids who are teaching us what Jesus looked like.
But check this out. It says, Colton claimed that he met Jesus, John the Baptist, and some of the family members who had passed away before he was born. Didn't we read that there was a separation between the... Oh, but they were alive in the separation, so I guess that's irrelevant.
Well, you can rest assured that heaven is for real, but what these people saw, I'm not quite sure. Maybe, I don't know.
Let me see private
You've
chat.
had a lot of people who have died and come back and have told tales, and they don't always match up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So something's off somewhere. But yeah, that's
This?
her. That's
Oh,
her.
these are her drawings?
There's Jesus. That's the drawing of Jesus that both she and Colton, and there was another lady who died and came back and said that's him, that's Jesus.
She's actually
And
the artist?
yeah, she's the artist.
Wow.
And I think that's a little, I don't know, I think that's a little too far for me.
Green-eyed?
Hmm?
He's a green-eyed...
Yeah, he's got blue eyes or green eyes or whatever. That yeah, that's green. That may be it, Divinity, because you've got green eyes and they're blue. When you zoom in, it's green, but when I see it regular, it's blue. So that's me, man. Wow.
That's a you thing.
Yeah.
He looks like Brian Koberger.
So,
You see those bushy eyebrows?
well, I'm saying it doesn't work for me.
That's not what your Jesus looked like.
That's not the Jesus. I'm not carrying around a
Hold on. Here's
picture
a
of
pretty cool
Jesus like
Jesus.
that.
Look at this.
Oh.
This looks like the expert.
Uh,
He for sure has green eyes. I want y'all to take note.
Now, I'm not discounting their experience. I'm just saying,
Let's see this one. Soft Jesus. Whoa, this is who's that actor? This looks like Colin Farrell, I think.
Looks like Iron Man to me.
This looks like a real eye. That has to be Jesus. Oh, hey, I'm pretty sure I want to see my Savior. So I'm pretty sure like that Wakanda shit. That means Savior in sign language. Savior. Anyway.
What is that? Is that a sign? I don't know sign language, but
yeah, he's trying to say.
Is that I love you?
No.
Is that what that is?
No.
Well, Children's Church. How do you feel about Children's Church, Divinity? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, or?
I think it's a good thing.
A mixed bag, or?
I honestly think it's a good thing. I mean, they're we're going to, that's like their milk, right? We're going to eventually eat meat, but you have to start somewhere. And if you want your child to mature in your religion, I think they need to start somewhere, and at their level is the best place to meet them. Like Paul said, he
I
would go
would
out to the world, he's all things to all people. That means being
I
more
would think it was
simple to a more simple mind,
I
like a
would think it
child.
would be one of those things where, if you don't homeschool or if you're a little lax about teaching your kids spiritually at home, um, you would at least want to say, well, what did you learn today in school? You know, Billy or whatever. What did they teach you in school today? And or what happened at school today? And
Mm,
stay connected that way, and you can
absolutely.
correct them. You can correct them with stuff like that.
Absolutely. People don't want to do that. I was doing that. I mean, my daughter graduated now. She's got her master's, but all the way through college, she would come home for some break and I'd be like, "What are you guys talking about? What are you learning about?" And she'd
Mm.
be like, "Oh, intersectionality." And then we'd have to talk for 3 hours about what
I
even that
learned
means.
that boys have a penis and girls have a vagina.
I know if it was that
Yeah,
simple,
yeah.
we'd high
I
five it out and just have
don't know if
ice
they're ready.
cream, but it's not. It gets complicated in college.
That
They're
should
doing indoctrination hardcore out there.
that should come from the parents, I think, when you're
But I
doing
do
something
it because
like
I care. I want her to have a more open-minded understanding of things. And I don't, people assume like your children's church is going to have your same interest at heart, and they can't, and they shouldn't, and they won't. And the Bible warns us that even the elect will be deceived. There are people out there who want to stop what's happening in God's church, and they will at the expense of me, you, our children, and everybody else. So
that. I think at the
if
very
you
least,
really care,
parents.
pay
I think
attention.
at the very least, parents should be familiar with who's teaching your children. So, these parent-teacher
Yeah.
conferences or where the parents get to visit the school and talk to the teachers, and I think those are very critical because,
Mhm.
these days anybody can show up in public school and you can have um, you know, somebody with completely different morals who's teaching your kids, different stuff. Um,
Yeah, and that's fine. As long as your kid's moral compass is set, then that's fine. You're going to send him into a whole entire world who's got the wrong, opposite moral compass because the world is the world. By its nature, given a whole kingdom of darkness. So if your kid isn't equipped to go to school and handle a teacher that is you have access to, that they have restrictions on, then how will they ever be equipped to go into the rest of the big world? I feel like Christians fear the world so much. They fear science, they fear other ideas, they fear information, and it's ridiculous. It's just weak faith, as if you can't, oh my God, a gay is going to be here, and next thing you know, what? You'll be gay? Probably not. Not you, that wasn't meant for you, but in general, it's like we don't want to see a rainbow flag, and maybe you don't. But to think that that person can't also educate your kid, or that you must remove them from a situation, I don't know. Just I think that maybe that marinade is bigger than what you've got going on at home, and that's the intimidating thing. And you might have to step up and be more of a provider of, you know, the good in your kid's life. But
mhm.
I don't think I don't know. I don't think children's church is bad.
And that's probably for any educational setting. In high school now, that's 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade.
9, yeah.
Um, I had a French teacher. Um, and she was from France, so I don't know how, Anyway, to make a long story short, um, she was dismissed because they found out that she was sleeping with a star football player.
Ooh, whoopsie.
Uh, you know, uh,
That's a problem.
that's a problem. And so unless the parents are involved, and even sometimes if they are, you never know, what the kids are running into, with different things in the education system. So you have to make sure that they're processing things properly the way that the parents would want them to process things when they get back home.
Yeah.
And that is an advantage to homeschooling. Of course, there are disadvantages to homeschooling as well. but that is an advantage, is that the parents are controlling, what's more of what's going into the child, what's
Yeah.
being processed.
Thankfully, the internet is there. So, like for my kid, he can see what's going on, you know, in other people's worlds, how they're behaving, how things are going on. And I don't think he feels he's missing out on it. Whereas before, he might just have been sitting at home, no access, and just assuming that what's going on and wanting to be a part of it and wanting to experience it. Instead, he's like, okay, that doesn't even interest me.
I
And he can
didn't
sort of move on from the thought of
I didn't
certain.
grow up I didn't grow up with computers, but I would think, if I looking back, if I had had computers, oh, I would have loved the aspect of you can just learn and run with it. Uh,
Mhm.
I would have been like a mega mind, I would have learned everything and gotten into all this stuff. I would have been like a super genius, like Paul or somebody, just from having access to a computer. Because I would have, talk about dinosaurs. I would have learned every dinosaur, everything about the dinosaurs. Um,
Yeah.
I would have, and had a
Well, what,
medical.
what what stopped you from going from just because it wasn't at your fingertips? You guys didn't have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Encyclopedia
it wasn't at my
Britannica.
fingertips, so I had to learn at the pace of everybody else in public school.
Mm.
Um, so there were definitely some things that I didn't learn because it was a lowest denominator kind of thing.
You didn't like check out books or go like there were
Yeah, but
plenty of
but still, it's
resources.
not. It's not the same as you having a computer. Now there would have been dangers too, because my parents, I would have scooted by my parents in a heartbeat with all the bad stuff online too.
Right.
Um, so there's definitely dangers there. Um,
That's another place where you have to be an
we had
active
a
participant in your child's life.
we have a friend to the community who's she's told a story of her oldest, where the grandparents give them uh, Apple stuff, all they give them whatever they want, and somehow she got into her dad's internet search history, and
Oh, I don't know this story. It sounds great.
nah, well, bad stuff happens, and it happens in a heartbeat.
Oh, they
It's
saw their
very
dad's search history?
Yeah, it's very
Oof,
easy to get into stuff when because it's just out there,
that's funny.
everything's out there. So you really have to watch and try to explain, and parents have a much harder time trying to
Do as I do, as I say, not as I do.
yeah, trying to control what goes into your kids, because kids are just. But to be fair, throughout history, kids have seen everything, man. I mean, wars, and the kid.
Yeah.
Nothing is kept from the kids,
It's
so
never
it's really
not been
just a matter.
kids.
It's
Yeah.
really just a matter of how the kid is led and taught to process things.
Yeah, but we used to
What
have
they say.
separation between kid space and adult spaces.
Yeah,
Now we
yeah.
don't. Kids are forced
No.
to be adults. I don't know that they're forced. They want it, and we don't stop it. We think that they should be our equals, our peers, our pals. It's like, you know what? You're robbing them of the opportunity and
To be
yourselves
a
of
child.
having
Yeah,
like of being a
yeah,
child, yes, and having like
yeah.
distinctly adult spaces. Like I'm sitting here, I have a parental advisory sign. I'm using bad language, but because I'm playing a kid game, I'm always thinking when I'm gaming, like, hopefully someone's kid isn't watching this because it's not for them, but I can't stop it. I just don't want to, you know what I mean? I want to have an adult space, but I can't
Mhm.
trust that somebody's out there not making sure that their kids aren't playing in my damn adult space. I hate it. It's frustrating.
And it used to be when the computer first hit the shelves or whatever, you had those demarcations, like with YouTube. You had to verify that you were a certain age before, but now the kids just get around everything. So there's no
Yeah,
telling
because
how old
kids
somebody
lie.
is.
We lied too. We needed our parents to sort of keep us on the straight and narrow, figure it out, find out, make sure, know who we're hanging out with and what we're doing, what we're consuming, and how that's changing us. And they're just it's a lot. Don't have kids. That's medical advice.
You
Don't
have
have
to
children.
you have to teach kids to internalize morality. to internalize values. They have to have that before they meet all this other stuff.
Right, exactly. That's why it's frustrating that the church is like, oh, VeggieTales isn't good because it's morality without Jesus. You're like, how? It's fine to teach them to be good. It is so okay to teach them, like, to share and to be forgiving and to love each other and, and other things that your ego will get in the way and that pride is a problem and that all
And
of
if
these things
you
that we learn through experience. We wish we would learn through the wisdom of others, and that these tiny little vegetables, such fruits, could teach us in such
and
a,
if you
a fun, simple way. I hate that we fight against it.
and if you find your kid, sitting on the ground one day with a basket of vegetables and fruit and is talking to him, you have to kind of step in and say, no, they're not real. This is, but that's the aspect of imagination too. Now this is Bob and this is Larry, and they've got the. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's a way in which you can lose a child to all this wild stuff. It's like I brought up about World of Warcraft and Call of Duty. There's some kids. There's some people that they get too caught up in that. There's a line. There's a line where you can say, "Oh, this is entertaining. This is fun," and it can wander into obsession where you say,
Mm-hmm.
"No, I've had this World of Warcraft character for 20 years. I can't lose him." You
I'm
know.
feeling attacked. I'm feeling so personally attacked.
Ah. I'm just
Well,
saying
here's
that
the thing. I think you're right. For sure, you're right. Because while I don't get obsessed with my characters, I get real anxiety when I play. Like, I haven't even entered a battleground yet because it get anxiety. Like, it does affect me in a way. I can't even imagine if those were my friends and it mattered if I won or my gear was correct
when I was
or
uh, when I was growing up, it was Dungeons and Dragons. Um,
it
have
still
you have
is.
you heard of that?
I
This
have,
was
yeah.
role character. It was another role character playing game,
Hmm.
and you had even movies being made of where people got obsessed with that, and they lost their minds in some kind of imaginary world, and there's a real danger there, but
Yeah.
it can also be fun. Pretending to be somebody else. We played cowboys and Indians when I was growing up. Sometimes
Hmm.
I'd get to be the cowboy, and sometimes I'd be the Indian.
But are kids even told no? Are people even told no? They don't even know about moderation.
Yeah.
They don't want to like defer gratification. They don't want to. There's no. It's just turn on the pleasure faucet and let it flow. There is just I don't know what we're doing to ourselves.
Hmm.
It doesn't start at children's church though. I feel like maybe children's church should be more out there because you know what? I went to Bible study and children's church and all of the things, and even though I still walked away as an adult and made my own choices and decided to learn my own thing and figure out my own truth, when I
There's
came back to it, I still had that foundation. I still understood it.
there's
I
still a
still always knew who God was. And while I chose not to believe in Jesus for a while, I never didn't believe in the same God over everything. I just was trying to fit that God into how I knew things because I could tell that man was trying to teach me and clearly man was screwing it up. And so I came back to my first love, I guess is how you would say that. But I came back because I had the foundation to fall back on.
mhm,
So
a
that's how I think
kernel,
why I think it's not bad.
a foundational kernel of religious instruction that kind of bounced back.
Right.
Mm.
I was familiar with it. I just don't think it's bad. And sort of like we're dealing with the Casey Anthony case, I'm so unfamiliar with everything. So they call somebody to the stand, I don't know who they are. They give me information and I grapple with it for a whole day and I can't place it yet. And I'm feeling like I'm constantly behind the ball because I don't know these terms and these people and these things. With the Karen Reed case, not at all. Second case, you knew everything. You could understand everything. Everything was this picture. You could take it off the shelf, play with it, put it back, put it next to something else, understand how it worked. If you don't have that, it sure makes dealing with these things, which you will deal with in the real world, harder. So yeah, give those tools to your children, whether they put them on a shelf or not. At least they know them.
How do you feel about real life characters? Like Bob and Larry dressed up, or you go to Disney World or Disneyland and you see Mickey Mouse and Pluto. Um, how do you feel about meeting those people in real life? Is
As
that
they're dressed up.
hmm do you think that's going a step beyond imagination into something else? Where it's Mickey
Mm,
Mouse.
I
Look,
don't
it's
find
Mickey Mouse,
2D and
Mom.
3D differentiate. I don't think it matters in the way that I understand the character. To see them alive, no, I don't think it makes a difference for me. I picture
Mm.
them alive anyway, so to see them alive, I guess it gives me that confirmation, but it doesn't make me think they're any different than the character. Does that make sense?
Do you think the child really knows that's not the real Santa Claus? That's not the
There's
real
no real,
Santa Claus. Do you think you know,
but there's no
or do,
real
or do you
Santa
think
Claus.
it's a bad thing to take the kids to sit in Santa Claus' lap and tell them what they want for Christmas?
That I feel like is
You
personal
put your
choice.
eye out.
I don't, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I think again, you just have to talk to your kids. I don't think that there's anything, if they know what's happening, if they can understand it, like this isn't real. This is something that people do and they still want to participate in that thing. I don't see the
Mm-hmm.
problem with it. But the indoctrination of before that kid is able to ask any questions and making them sit on Santa's lap, do I think that does something
That
to a
really
kid?
is a tricky thing, huh? Whether to have the tooth fairy or not have the tooth fairy,
Well, it
or
comes down to eventually you're going to tell them the truth. And
yeah.
and we know how that goes because it happens to all of us. Was that super detrimental in our lives? No, it wasn't. It
Mm-hmm.
was just thanks for letting me participate in the thing. It was fun. It was cute. It was whimsical. It was fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It was no harm, no foul.
Yeah. You just have to make sure your child is not scarred by something like that.
Yeah.
But I do think I went to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and probably met all the Disney characters, when I was little. And I don't think I had a problem with it, once I grew up and learned that these were people, and masks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it probably on an individual basis how a child deals with things. I don't know.
What about like, yeah, I wonder if it's different when it's like a Dora character and that's a fake person. So that
Yeah.
might, do you know what I mean? Like a vegetable
Well,
is a big vegetable, so I feel
you
like that's
have
so easy. But what about
you
when it's
have you have some adults that get that way. I met Wonder Woman. I just met
right? Oh, when it
what's
comes
her
to
name?
adults, they do the same thing with actors, except for they
Oh yeah.
never stop. That is always Iron Man or whatever. And you're like, it's really not. It's just a dude.
hmm
Yeah. Adults are
Your
probably worse than children. And
your
at
hu-
least children are children.
your
And they're
hubby's
looking
got
at Barney.
your hubby's got an Iron Man helmet, huh?
Negative. No, no,
No, he
no.
doesn't. I know
He's
the
not.
expert has a Captain America shield, and he's got a Batman. He's got a Batman head that he wears sometimes.
Nobody knows who Batman is. Is that correct?
Well, he's the expert, right? Um,
Okay, well, that's kind of cool. I think I found that out last week, and I do find Batman sort of neat for that.
but yeah, there's a. I don't know. Vicky's probably the best explainer on stuff like that because she deals with that every day, right? She does plays and does characters and makes Ma and Pa Beaver, and she deals with that on a regular basis. A suspension of belief into a imaginary world where some things can be communicated better than they can in the real world.
Hmm.
Um, or it softens the blow of some things, like the White Witch of Narnia, compared to Hitler. Uh, it kind of softens the blow um, when you put it in a make believe setting.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it's good for kids, like the whatever the word was for making it their level. I forget the word. Something
Mm.
demagogical or I don't know what it was.
Awkward in what way, Yamaha? Awkward in what way? That Santa was dead, or You know,
5 years old. That's a lot.
5 years old, man. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, it's hard. Um, and like I said, my sister is 8 years younger than I am. I can remember a time when I ran across the roof, pretending that the reindeer had come, and were just leaving. Um,
Aw.
but I don't know.
My biggest disappointment when I got bigger was learning that there was no man inside the dishwasher to come out and wash your
Really?
dishes.
Oh wow,
Yeah, there's really not somebody in there doing that.
dishwasher man. Oh man. Mm.
Mm-mm. You got to rinse
Did you
you got to
try to
wash everything before you
did
put
you
it in
try
there.
to
So I'm
did
off
you
the
try to
dishwasher.
open it and take a peek every once in a while? You take a
Yeah.
little peek inside.
Mm-hmm. Disappointing, huh?
Well, imagination and the heart of a child, um, and that gets into children's church too. I don't think in Flannel Graph that they're really thinking that this is Jesus, but somehow or another it might stick that this is what Jesus looks like. He's a white flannel graph guy. He's not a black Jesus, right? Um,
I don't know. I feel like it doesn't it say in the Bible like
I had never even thought of him having green eyes before. I can tell you
yeah,
that.
no.
And little what's his name was telling me that's what Jesus has green eyes.
I guess
For,
we don't know, but I feel like we could guess a little.
well, you got a lot of
So we
verses there. Let's go over some of those, man.
okay. These
You
are
got
the
a lot of
ones
them.
that were like Veggie Tales is always like you've got the power, where it's always God's got the power. The son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his father doing.
Mhm.
It is the Father living in me who is doing the work. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Why you call
That's
me
what
good? No one is
that's
good.
really what the Bible says about each of us, that we're God's living letters to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a right to look at us and say, well, this is what is representing God.
Yes.
And that's
That's
a
why I
great,
say put yourself aside and lean into the Holy Spirit, because you are the witness to God for the
Mhm.
rest of the world to see. You are the light. So to say like, oh, I wish I could quit smoking. It's like, oh, I wish you'd get out of your way, because you can. Because God, there's nothing God can't do except your free will keeps getting in the dang way.
Whether you like it or not, the world or even the church is going to look at you and say, well, that's, that must be what, they're going to look at you as a representative of Christ and
And you are.
judge you one way or the other based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you
And rightly
hypocrite.
so. I
Yeah.
think they should. I think if you say I'm the standard bearer for Christ, I am a child of God, and I'm perfect as my Father is perfect, and I follow the way that Jesus was, then yeah, the world has a right to judge you.
Mm.
So God's going to judge us based on the things we confess with our mouths.
For what we preach is not ourselves, but Christ Jesus is Lord.
Amen. Not
So,
having a righteousness of my own, but that which is through faith in Christ.
so we're like a bunch of little moons. We're reflecting the glory of the sun.
Little stars,
A little moon. Yeah.
little pieces of God's greatness. I think we're more like the stars than the moon. Or the stars are fire, right?
Mm. How do you feel about your uncle today, Yamaha?
Mm.
Do you think they did a right thing in saying Santa Claus is dead?
I mean, I would assume because the mom was there, he didn't get to explain his joke.
Do you think that's what it was, a joke?
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. It's like a
What do you
grandma
mean?
got ran over
Yeah,
by a reindeer.
exactly.
Mm.
Holy crap. Holy crap. Okay.
Mm.
That's
Well,
all the
see,
notes I have.
well, see, Vicky is going to be Vicky and I, in some sense, are going to be uh, on the side of fantasy, and
Hmm.
that's why I like C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. You've got parallels to reality, but it's not reality, and that doesn't. It's just like Divinity with her World of Warcraft. There's no. She's not. She might get anxious about something, or but she has a clear demarcation between what's real and what's
Oh
not
yeah.
real.
That's why I like
Um,
it, because it's clearly not real and it's clearly not reality. So I can
yeah.
go hang out there and not focus on reality. But it does affect me in a way that, like, if I were pouring all my everything
Well, it
into it, and
well
I
it
care, like I
releases
said,
it
care about
releases
your gear, care
it
about your
releases
friendship
stress
and your
that you can
skills
go
and all your
online
good
and
shit.
kill a bunch of people, right?
But it's just another world, so I could also keep up with the Joneses in that world if I wanted, and it could become the same exact thing as this world if I let it. So everything in moderation, even World of Warcraft. Oh no, he was serious, and my mom was pissed. We don't get along anyway, so
Uh,
damn. Show me the body. I need some mens rea or corpus delicti. I need some shit. I need to see it. Shot
well,
Santa.
I can well imagine some parents
Imagine, hold on, can you
would get
imagine your
so
parents
tired.
fighting over Santa in the morning of
Well,
Christmas? You're like, you didn't shoot him. Yes, I did. And your husband's over there just giggling like,
it's the
you're
whole
stupid.
it's the whole commercialization, and you feel you have to spend all your money for their kids
Hmm.
every Christmas,
Yeah.
and I can imagine some parents getting so sick and tired of it they'd go so far as to here's the bloody suit and soak it in ketchup and
It's
I
hard.
killed him
I
and
bring
buried him
gift.
in the yard, and no more overspending gifts for
Overpriced gift. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm Santa, actually. Well, you know what? I don't know. I think it's a special way because you're always telling your kids that they're good, right? But you're their parents, so they don't want to hear you. But if you say, "Hey, the guy, a
Vicky,
separate guy that's looking at all the kids thinks you're good," it's just another way for you as a parent to say, "I'm proud of you," in a way that they might hear you.
Vicky, I'm saying
That's a
that
good argument.
we agree with the role of fantasy in the life
Mhm.
of a child and then the life of an adult. That's why you do the costumes for the plays. It's pretend. It's a play. It's pretend, and we gain insights, from those plays. Um, but I would draw a line with stuff like Santa Claus. I wouldn't have Santa Claus because I wouldn't have Christmas. I think if you're going to make it religious, if you're going to have a Christ, holiday, you got to be serious about it. Um, and
Like Easter.
that's where I would draw the line is you don't want to have a fake religion. You don't want to fantasize about what's real in the spiritual realm. Um,
I agree.
and so I'm not saying I would kill Santa Claus. I would just never, I would say, look, Bill, look, little Bill, this is Santa Claus is not real. Um,
Okay, here, let me ask you this. So you sit down with little Bill and you're like, "Hey, Santa's not real. It was made up. These people
Bob and
just do it."
Larry are not real.
And then little Bill goes, "Oh, okay, I get it. Santa's not real. Whatever. Could we pretend as well this year?"
Yeah, we could pretend.
Okay, so you would do a pretend Christmas as long as the
I would
pretense
have
was
a yeah,
correct.
I would have a pretend Santa.
Yeah, I think that's
Let's
fine too.
pretend
As
let's
long as they
pretend that.
know, it's way less disappointing that way. People should be more honest with their kids.
Yeah. At least admit that it's pretend.
Well, they do dumb shit like they're going to keep up the Santa charade, but as soon as they're like 9 and can figure out Santa, they're like, "Well, now you're an adult. Come into all the adult spaces and know adult stuff and do adult shit." You're like, "What?"
No more candy for
None of that
you.
makes sense. Yeah. Weird. I have to use the restroom though. Do you want to end it here? We've been here an hour and 44 minutes. I have nothing else. If you have other notes, then I'll just pause here and come back.
Mm, we'll have an extra long one next week when we
Oh,
talk
you have
about
some stuff you
Israel.
feel terrible about, huh?
I've got terrible stuff, but let's see if I let's see how quick. Let's see if it's let's see. I felt terrible about the foul language. We had a word we invented last week, or, is this
Well,
sounds a little bit like kerfluffle or kerfuffle or something like that.
not me. I
Uh,
don't feel terrible about
I
anything.
felt a little bad about that. I've got Lady Liberty having unshaven pits. Felt and we already mentioned the picture of Jesus. And let's see. Let me go back.
Why is it not working?
I
This
feel
is
terrible
ridiculous.
about
He feels terrible, not me.
welcome bake. That's just something about welcome bake and
I have to use the
seahorses.
restroom. I'll be right back.
All right, all right.
They
There
they
was
care though.
something.
Keep telling chat.
Yeah, there was something about. I felt terrible about. This is from 2 weeks ago. Um, welcome bake, like we were down under roasting clam on a beach with shrimp and the Barbie, and let's have a welcome bake. Uh, my understanding is that the Aussies don't even have shrimp on the Barbie. It's that's Paul Hogan invented that, and Crocodile Dundee, um, and then so hungry I could eat a horse. Nobody can eat a horse. You can't. Who could? Nobody could even eat a horse. When in the history of anyone has anybody eaten a horse? It's impossible to do, unless maybe it's one of those dog-sized mini horses. But they're too cute to eat, right? But you could probably get one down. Anyway, there was something more about seahorses. Um, oh, this would probably be um, Paul. Paul got on me for using stuff too much. Uh, I felt really bad about stuff. Not the stuff I usually feel bad about, but the use of the word, the all-inclusive word stuff. That Paul immediately thought I was talking about sexual bits when I talk about no stuff is a lot broader than that. Um, it doesn't have to be about bits. Um, but I did feel bad. I felt bad about that, and I was going to bring out something about I don't know. Mm, There's something about Coffee Crew. Coffee Crew's not here today, right? So I'm not going to. I'm going to mention that. No, I think that's about it. I just know that I always feel bad about stuff. I mentioned last week how, or was it this week? Was it last week? Was it when we first started? It was last week. How I always think about everything bad I've ever done. I can't ever forget about the bad stuff that I've done. I remember every bad thing I have ever done. I remember. So I always like to go back and look at what I did the week before and how I feel bad about some things. And I don't know if it helps me to get it out, but at least I have said it. I have confessed my wrongdoing to the chat, and so I can get repentance um, and forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Vicky, we don't have female pastors in my belief system. Um, so no, you can't take confessional because we don't believe women can. You should never tell a woman your secrets. Um, that's a big mistake, telling women your secrets. I think you're muted, Divinity. You're still muted.
I am. I was muted, and I do agree. But you know why it's a big mistake to tell women your secrets?
Why is that?
Because they're freaking do-gooders. They want to fix everything, and that is not your job. Quit it.
Mm.
And if you're out there trying to fix things and for, what do you call it? Good intentions, you are a
Men need
woman.
Men need to be fixed, man.
No, they don't, and maybe they do, but go to a counselor or whatever. Get a shrink.
Mm. Don't go to the urologist to be fixed.
Maybe, I don't know. This isn't medical advice. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't either in Baptist. Wait. Oh, they don't. She's Baptist, so they don't let women preach either, I guess. Wait, I thought there was a woman preacher at that Trump thing that was Baptist.
Well, Baptist and Presbyterians, there is quite a number of groups of different ones. In Baptist, there's like the main group, the Southern Baptist Convention, but there's a lot of other Baptist groupings of regular Baptists and free will Baptists and all kinds of different Baptists. And it's true in Presbyterians too. The largest Presbyterian church denomination is liberal. They shrink every year, so we're catching up to them. But there's no telling what they believe. They're not. I wouldn't even call them Presbyterian because they've departed so much from what traditional Presbyterianism is. But I'm a little bit outside of my own group too because my church celebrates Christmas and Easter, but I don't celebrate Christmas and Easter. So what's up with that?
Wait, why do you belong to them if they don't do it your way? And you don't do
Because
it their way either.
Because they're the only one around, man. You got to go somewhere. There's no the
How come I can't
closest
be your church?
the
You could tithe
closest
me
church
10%.
the closest church to my beliefs is like 100 miles away, and that's too far. That's too
Oh,
far to go.
for Jesus. Absolutely.
For so I just have my own beliefs that are peculiar to me,
Okay.
and
All
and I
right.
don't
So
have
you're
any
not
kids.
swayed.
I don't have any
Okay,
kids to pass them on to. So when I die, everybody will celebrate Christmas and be happy.
not me. That year I won't celebrate Christmas.
Mm,
I'll mourn.
you'll mourn. Well, you'll celebrate
Yeah.
it in September or April or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
September 11th. Everybody knows that's actual
That's
Christmas.
the actual Christmas.
I did a whole show about it. It's
Yeah,
verifiable.
yeah. And we would pretty much agree, I think, with that. We would if I were to celebrate Christian holidays, I would go Messianic. I would do it with the way the Messianic people do.
I really think that kind of like how church is, how like kids should learn sort of with the adults. All of that first century way of being is a lot. I would say it's very messianic because, they stopped believing, I guess, when we started believing. So, yeah, I do find their blend of culture the most palatable, the most, I think,
Well,
cultural,
let's
like
let's be
rich.
clear. Let's be clear, though. The Messianic. Uh, that's a fairly modern take on things. You never really had
No, it's not.
Jewish. You never really had Jewish Christians throughout the history of the
Well,
church.
so that's because you're saying it in a strange way. A
Yeah,
messianic believer is a Jew who believes in Jesus, right?
yeah,
The
and
disciples were Jews who believed in Jesus.
that's a fairly modern movement. Uh,
Really? I was going to take it all the way back to the disciples real fast, who were Jews who believed in Jesus, right?
well, it's probably meaning to reclaim an ancient, you know, practice, an ancient belief system. But you didn't really have Jews for Jesus until my lifetime.
You
Uh,
can call it what you want, but the fact is that the disciples were Jews who believed in Jesus.
yeah,
The Christians and the Jews who didn't want to believe made for themselves a religion they could deal with. But the truth is, when the Jews believe in Jesus and call themselves messianic, that is the original way it was done, not a new way to be done.
no, but it's a revival of an old way that was
Yeah, it is the original way it was
forgotten
done,
for
but
many.
there's no break there.
There's a break. There's a break. Um, when you had the Council of Nicaea, when you had Constantine, when Christianity came into its own, so to speak, became the official church religion, all other practices were frowned upon. So you did not have a Jewish Christianity at that point. Um, that was not the official Catholic way of understanding Scripture. And so when you had a revival of that, that was pretty much in my lifetime, or maybe just before my lifetime, when you had a resurgence of of Jews accepting Christ as the Messiah and maintaining their their cultural dynamic as Jews.
Listen, I'm not
That's fairly
Jewish,
recent.
so I can't say that when they started, but we know for sure that the disciples were Jewish.
They were all of them.
hmm Jesus to the Jews first, and then to the Gentiles. Paul's message went to us, but
This
even
is getting into a preparation for war for next week, guys. Oh, we're gonna go at it. We're gonna really battle it out next week when we talk about Israel. Oh man,
I don't think you're ready. And I would urge you to read the Bible and not go listen to what anybody on YouTube has to say,
I'm
because
gonna
I'm not.
listen to everything, man. Ah,
Well, you better understand their opinion because I'm going to annihilate it.
Well, now when it comes to are we the new Israel?
Yes.
I'm gonna go to the scriptures with stuff. So.
Okay, good. It's the only place we
Mm.
really can go because we'll just be spinning our wheels with if not.
But be prepared. We are going to trump all over next Saturday. Ah, there's going to be blood in the streets, man.
I can't wait. You're probably lying, huh? You probably already agree with me and you just say that to get my
Ah, man. Ah,
Ugh.
I'm not sure because when we went to the feasts, we never really got into it. Uh, I kind of dismissed you from the
Right out
start.
the gate. Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't let you talk about stuff.
I know. We'll
That
have
was
that debate again. You will lose that debate eventually, but we're baby step you into it.
Uh,
I'm all right with
and
that.
so
You're old.
when it comes to Israel, all that bent up frustration, ah, the sparks are gonna fly next week, you guys. Oh boy, sparks are gonna fly, and that that don't terrorize me. There's no need to terrorize me with a fly
I got
swatter.
squabbles, mom.
That was the implement of punishment when I was growing up was the
You
fly
told me
swatter.
that. That's why I have it right here
Yeah,
to terrorize you.
that's what I'm
Trigger.
saying, man.
I'm gonna
Ah.
swat you, you bird.
It
You
terrifies
stormy
me every
warrior.
time I see one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, um, this was fun. I forgot that next week is going to be a lot of fun. This week was kind of trying to understand kids' church. What do we agree with? Do we think VeggieTales is bad? Should the world be in the church? Should the
Well,
church be in the
I don't
world?
know that it's still kind of hazy. Um, but basically, it comes down to mom and dad. They have the responsibility for how their children are raised. And, you know, there's going to be influence from all different aspects of everything. And some of it's going to be good and some of it's going to be bad. And the parents just have to be there to help their kids sort it out at whatever age they are, whatever they can process.
Yep, we agree. There goes my dog to raise Cain in the streets. I
Mm.
agree. I
Mine is
think
still
that the
mine is
church
still
should be in
asleep.
the world. The world shouldn't be in the church. I think it's totally fine that goodness is being spread. I think that is the path towards God because there is one real good. And if you set somebody on the path towards it, at least they're being good, right? You're either for or against. I don't know. I just feel like it's a good thing. And while I think last week I would have said, well, I don't know what I would have said last week, but I feel like you had began to convince me that they were bringing in the world to the church, which I didn't feel like was appropriate. But I don't see it that way. I read some studies about indoctrination and when we should introduce kids to religion and vice versa. And I just
Well,
come back to raising
if
kids
you
up the way that you want them to go.
if you find something out there that's a very strong influence in the life of a child, whether it's Bob and Larry or the purple dinosaur or anything, that the kids just get so enthralled with, the Transformers or whatever it is. You just have to oversee and make sure that that they stay grounded, uh, in what you
Yeah.
want them to believe, or what you feel that they should believe.
I'd be interested to see how your notes go for the show because Yamaha says, I think you just go for a jihad.
Well, I think that a holy war. I think that's what we're going to see next week. A holy war,
Next week it's happening?
and
Oh, you and I.
it's going to be, for those of you who don't know, it's going to be over our Christians. Are Christians Israel? We're grafted into the tree, right? Are Christians Israelites? Do we count as Israelites? Are we Jews now that
Spiritual
we're
Israel.
Christians?
We're
They're
not Jews. No
spiritual,
one said that.
spiritual. Um, you know, what is the church? Is the church different from Israel, or the same as Israel?
The same.
Who are the chosen people of God? Is it the
That's a
Jews?
different
Is
question.
it Christians? Well, who are the chosen? Um,
Well, we should look into that. Hold on. I'm going to write that down. So that's a good question. I wasn't going to answer that next week because I was going to annihilate you with the rest of it, but I'll take a moment in the beginning
wow,
to throw you a
wow,
bone.
that's a very popular series. I disagree with it completely, but
Who
The
are the
Chosen.
chosen?
Hmm.
I don't I think people both sides of this question get all bent out of shape like we're the chosen, we're like super perfect and everyone's like fuck off, you're not the chosen. We like that's messed up. But the truth is, can you imagine being chosen? You're like, "Oh, I'm chosen." They're like, "Okay, here's the hammer, here's the nails." You're like, "Wait, for what?" Like, "Well, you got to kill Jesus." You're like, "I
And
don't want to be chosen." It's
and
not
what
great to be
arose
chosen. I just feel like they were chosen.
what
The
a, what
Hebrew people were chosen,
arose
but I
what
don't.
arose by any other name smell as sweet. So does it matter if we're called Christians or called Messianics or something else? Does it matter? Um, who
No,
are
I don't
we?
think.
Who are we in Christ? Do we become Jews? Jesus was a Jew. The disciples were Jews. Are we
No,
Jewish
I don't
now?
think we become Jews.
Uh,
No,
where
we just
my
become
the
children
life
of
I
God.
live the life I live in Christ, I live through Christ, right? Who is a Jew.
Jewish by like his mom and dad through his upbringing, but we are grafted into the tree. So we're not Jewish or Hebrew. We don't come like so they're breaking it down into tribes when you start saying that because otherwise they're
My
just Hebrew.
my faith is the same faith as Abraham and Isaac and Jacob.
Right. So Hebrew. Abraham was a Hebrew. So you would become a Hebrew if you wanted to take on their nationality, if that's what you're saying.
Stay
But people
tuned.
get all confused with Jew, Judah, all these different things. And it's like, no, we don't have to
Stay
be Jews. That's not what we're saying when we say spiritual
stay
Israel.
stay tuned next
Yeah,
week.
stay tuned.
Did you ever watch Seinfeld at all?
Yada, yada,
Who is
yada. No.
who's the guy that was the drug guy? Uh, Cranston. What's his name? Uh,
I didn't watch it.
yeah, yeah.
Kramer?
No, from
That's all. Lucky.
they had the blue meth or whatever it was. He was the who's the drug guy? Help me up. Where did he? Yamaha Biker knows. It was Brad Cranston. He was anyway. He was on Seinfeld. He was a doctor, or dentist, or something on Seinfeld, and he became a Jew, and he could tell Jewish jokes now because he had become a
Oh,
he had become
sweet.
he had become a
Let's wear little
Jew.
hats
He
next
he
week and we'll
became a
say whatever
Jew
we
so he
want.
could tell the Jewish jokes and get away with
You,
it.
you've got the Jew vibe going on. Wear a tiny hat next week. You
Walter
say whatever
White,
you
there you
want.
go.
Walter
Yeah.
White.
Brad Cranston was the drug guy on the movie. It was a popular series.
Oh, I know what you're
In
talking. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. There you go. Yeah, Walter White.
Walter reminded me of that.
Well, he was also on episodes of
Oh,
Seinfeld where
he's
he was a dentist, and he became a Jew just so he could tell the Jewish jokes and feel like he was an insider, whereas Seinfeld, I think, was probably like born a Jew. Had that Jewish. He was, I don't know. We'll get into that next week too. But Seinfeld would have been what you would call a real Jew, a Hebrew Jew, a descendant of Abraham, whereas Brad Cranston would have been a grafted in Jew who became a Jew just so he could tell the Jewish jokes.
Yeah, that's us. We're
Yeah.
grafted in. We are grandfathered Jews. Fathered in
boy.
Jews. Capital F. I loved him as the dentist. He was funny. Yeah, I never watched it. All right, well, this was fun. My dog is having some kind of conniption fit. He just wakes up.
Yeah, you better go. You better go see to the dog. And
I don't know what's going on. I can't wait till next week. All right, this was
it's gonna
fun.
be great, man. It's gonna be
It
great.
is going to be great.
Blood everywhere, just like Warcraft.
There's
There's gonna be
It'll be like Revelation.
explosions
Oh, dude, I need a new background for next week's show for sure.
Call of Duty. Get Darth in here, man. Call of Duty.
Murdering.
different
Okay,
kind of-
I'm gonna watch his next
Spiritual
video,
duty.
and I'll steal the graphics from that, and they'll be our graphics,
Oh boy.
free of charge. Boom! Great idea, Squabble. So if you want to be reminded about this show next Saturday, you should follow me on Twitter. I'm at Divinity Said, and I mostly remind people about it.
If you want Squab to have a singing segment, mention that too. Maybe we can get Squab to sing some more songs.
Like a praise and worship section. We could start the show with that.
Well, you might need to specify too whether you would want them to be religious or otherwise.
Oh, both.
Squab knows,
everything.
Close the door and turn the lights down low.
We stole that, didn't we?
Yeah.
This was a weird show if you think about it.
Well, you have to watch what goes into a child, and you have to watch what goes into an adult. It's not, even though Jesus says it's what comes out that makes you
all that matters. Correct.
Yeah, it's not what goes in.
Not
what comes out.
Mm-hmm. That's why you should marinate yourself in the good, because the world's going to squeeze you, and what comes out of you is what's in you. And if what's in you is a bunch of worldly nonsense, then that's what's coming out. You can't hold on to the world and God with both hands. You're going to have to let something go. So just fill yourself up with a lot of God. And then bada bang, bada boom, by default, what you're doing is
Vicky is definitely saying religious songs, so I'll have to stick
religious songs. All right, I'll do the sign language. I'll be your sign language interpreter. I'll make my little bubble smaller. I'll pretend I know what you're saying.
Wow.
That's definitely... This is sign language.
You got that sign language down,
I
man.
learned it from Madonna. So, yeah, I'm sure it's right. Okay, well, we love Jesus, and that's what matters. And we love each other. We love all of everybody who's in chat. Made it back for the end. It gets weird at the end.
Bye, Pepe.
Bye. Bye, everyone. And we'll see you next Saturday. It's going to be the best show this year. Tell your friends. Tell your mom.
Boy.
Don't tell your mom. We're going to say,
blood
just tell your mom.
On the streets, man.
There will be blood. Much blood. All right. Bye, guys.
Well, we're out of time for today, but remember,
God made you special, and he loved you very much.
bye!
Bamboo!